strap nearby might be helpful. So that being said, we'll go ahead and start at the back of the mat. And just give yourself a moment here. Oh, I've got the silence on. To arrive. We are going to not focus on the breath or anything, just let yourself stand in the home base of mountain and notice the breath. You might feel the mat under the feet. You might notice if you've had any activity from the week or just recently requiring maybe some modifications in your home base. You can bend the knees slightly. And as we begin our practice, we'll start with our breath cultivation. So bring our left palm to rest on the chest, right palm under the belly button. Let's give a little more intention, focus to the breath in through the nose. A brief pause before we start a slow breath out of the nose. Another brief pause before we start the breath cycle over again. And depending on what you've done, you might have a short breath cycle. Maybe it's only 1 to 2 seconds long. But as we quiet down and arrive, hopefully at the end of our breath cultivation, it may be as long as 4 to 5 seconds long. Inhales are good for scanning the body, seeing if there's any achy parts, anything that just pops into mind. And the exhales, just to release that achiness. We'll finish cultivating our breath by bringing the sound of an ocean wave, a deep sigh. Open up the back of the throat, keeping the mouth closed, of course. See if you can hear some sort of noise through the sinuses, at the top of the throat, on both the inhales and the exhales. And with that slower, longer breath cycle, hopefully we're connected to our more yogic breath, our ocean breath. Let's go ahead and release the hands down to our sides. And just keeping that about square foot distance between the feet, right under the hips. We'll start bringing breath and body movement together. With the next inhale, start to feel a little longer, root down at the feet, draw the energy up the legs, up the spine, up to the crown of the head. Then on the exhale, feel that energy return down the body. Engage the core at the bottom of the exhale. Once more, feel a little more rooted down at the feet as you feel that energy pass through the body to the mat, to the earth. With the next inhale, we can start to shift our center of gravity towards the toes. Take your time with your long inhale to get to the tips of the toes, and then start the exhale, slowly rolling the center of gravity back towards the heels. Fully exhaled, hopefully at the tipping point of the heels. Use the next few breath cycles to find that heel to toe alignment. Notice how the Energy passes at the soles of the feet, still in contact with the mat, and how the body responds as well in general. Keep the body nice and long while you move at the soles of the feet. And then we'll return to center, to our home base, right above the ankles, at the top of the insteps. And we'll dip into our home base. Inhale, feel a little longer, feel the energy lifting up. And exhale, feel the center roll towards the outer right edge of your feet. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, back up to center, or all the way over to the other side. Two-part breath if you're just inhaling and exhaling from side to side. Three-part breath if you inhale to the center and exhale to either side. But give yourself that moment or two to find the horizontal mapping at the soles of the feet. And then we'll meet back at center. Drop on into your home base. Inhale once more. And then start making circles at the ankles while you're still feeling uplifted, energized upwards, nice and long in the body. While the circles at the ankles radiate outwards, and you start to feel more and more of the edge of the feet. And once you find that, go ahead and tighten in the circles. We'll meet back at home. Notice how it feels in the body. Like water going down the drain, we're back at home base. Inhale once more, lengthening through our mountain. Make small circles now in the opposite direction. Widen those circles. And once more, find the edge, the perimeter of the feet. And notice how it feels in this direction of the same journey. And if you find the edge, we'll return to home base. Center at the top of the ankles once more. Even distribution of weight at the soles of the feet. We'll go ahead and remove any gripping, activation of body, limbs from that last exercise. And let's go ahead and start with the next warm-up. Standing nice and tall in our mountain. Let's go ahead and start shifting our weight from one side of the body to the other at the feet. And then as more and more of the weight starts to shift, feel as if you're starting to get, let's see, a turning motion. You might feel the shoulders moving, just slightly different, just a little delayed from the hips and the lower body. And you're driving the motion really from the feet up. But as more and more of that turning motion occurs, as you swivel to one side, the torso and the toes should be in the same side. You should be lifting your feet at the toes, the ball of the feet, so you don't hurt your knees. And you might find the arms, though they're not really activated, are just moving along from that motion of the torso moving. Remember your yogic breath. It can always help you facilitate whatever movement you're using. And after you get a little more lubrication in the ankles, the hips, the waist, the shoulders, we'll let that energy diminish. And we'll return to our center once more. Bringing in the toes, heel to toe alignment, feet right underneath the hips once more. And let's go ahead and start thinking about keeping the tailbone tucked under if we haven't already. Lengthening through the legs, feeling the feet firmly rooted to the mat. You can feel the balls of the feet quite well here. And then we'll start with the shoulders rolling up and down, palms facing forward. Inhale, shoulders come up. Exhale, roll them back and down. Fully exhale to engage the core. A total of 4 breath cycles worth of these shoulder rolls. Inhaling always up, but exhaling for now, back and down. Nice slow breath cycle to help guide the movement in the shoulder girdle primarily. All the rest of the body is sort of stationary, supporting us. And then with the next round, let's inhale, shoulders up. This time roll them forward and down. Tuck under, tuck into the mid-back, those triangular points at the bottom of your shoulder blades. Let them just melt down the back like angel's wings. And then we'll move up to the head, to the neck and above. Once more, we're feeling that energy lifting from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. Then exhale, let the right ear dip towards the right shoulder. Fully exhaled here. Inhale at the sternum. Turn the head on the exhale. And allow the next 3 to 4 breath cycles to help release the left side of your neck all the way through to the left side of your face and crown of the head. Even the eyes, a soft gaze. Hopefully by that last breath cycle exhale is at the rightmost of your periphery. Shoulders should still be in line with one another, as should the hips and the ankles. Even distribution of the body from the shoulders down. And keeping the hands facing forward, the palms will help keep the shoulders away from the ears. And after your last exhale, inhale the eyes, the gaze, the crown of the head all the way back up. And then exhale, left ear towards the left shoulder. Inhale for breath. Exhale to turn the gaze. And again, 3 to 4 breath cycles. Wherever you first land with your eyes might change with each successive exhale. Maybe your eyes might land eventually on your left shoulder, behind the left shoulder, or maybe it just is at some place in front of the shoulder. But try to keep the back nice and steady. Feel the release on the right side of the neck, jawline, ear, side of the head. And after your last exhale, breath cycle, inhale the eyes, the gaze, the crown of the head to the ceiling. And then exhale, eyes float downward to the top of the mat. Chin and chest have a nice space. And we're just giving ourselves that same amount of breath cycles to just feel a little release at the back of the neck, base of the skull. Soft gaze. Palms still facing forward, hopefully. Notice if you're rolling out at the feet. Keep the foundation evenly distributing the weight. And let the breath help guide, release, or introduce length with each inhale and exhale. And after the last exhale, let's inhale the eyes back to the midline, past the midline, a little higher up until we can see above us, and then stop craning the neck. Use the next 4 breath cycles. See if you can release in the front part of the throat, the jaw, the face. See if your ears can relax, the scalp. Sometimes you can open your mouth with a small O, grow it to a larger O, and gently let it close a little bit. Maybe sliding the lower jaw gently from side to side might help loosen any clenched muscles in that jawline. Exhale, give yourself that softening of the brow. And then after your last exhale, you can begin to float the eyes back towards the midline. And then here, we're just going to transition again. You can shake out any residual activation of muscles. You can lift a foot, a heel. You can see if you've got any locked joints or muscles. And then as we come back to our mountain, a little longer, a little taller with each return to this home base, we'll start moving towards the folds. Reaching the fingers downward. Our arms are still relaxed, but reaching fingers downwards, we can inhale, extend the arms up. And at the very top, you can reach up if you'd like, but engage the core next and start to exhale, hinging at the hips. Keep a bend to the knees if you need. And you can just let the back float on down. We want to keep it relatively long with a strong core, and just let your hands walk down the thighs or let the arms just help the back to float on down. Hopefully you're finding just a unfolding and unwinding of that lower back, and the gaze is just slowly following along. So it's hopefully right below you. And with the arms being nice and relaxed, they may be supported at the thighs. Maybe it's the forearms to the thighs. Maybe you have the arms just dangling out in front of you. But you want to kind of release from that tailbone all the way down to the crown of the head. So make sure you're not holding on to the weight of the head. Just see if you can relax. Have the shoulder blades just kind of using gravity to kind of move away from the spine, nice and heavy, while the hips all the way down to the heels are still a long column of support. And of course, if your legs are tight, you can always keep a bigger bend to the knees. But we're in our first fold for about 5 good deep breath cycles. Nice and slow, in through the nose, out through the nose. And be careful not to look too much past where your hands are. You're just trying to keep that center of gravity at the lower part of the body while the upper part of the body is relaxing. It's releasing with the help of nature, of gravity. You can always gently move the head from side to side, front and down, up and down, maybe even like a plumb line, just let it dangle. And then with the next inhale, we're going to slowly roll up from our extended fold. So give yourself an engaged core. That includes pressing into the balls of the feet. If you're using your blocks, you can walk your hands or the blocks to help bring the torso back up the body, up to the top, right on top of the pelvic bowl. And press into the balls of the feet. Try to tuck under the tailbone. Let the blood rush back to the head. And we'll give ourselves another fold. Inhaling as we're reaching down, we're going to extend the arms up above us. And then exhale, start to hinge at the hips. Stick that tailbone back, past that original thigh hip position, so you can hinge at the hips and slowly make your way down to a second fold. However you get there, we're just once more trying to relax the upper body as the lower body from the hips down to the heels are supporting us. Gentle bend to the knees or a deep bend. Make sure you're not rolling that
center of gravity we explored earlier, out to the sides of your feet, or too much towards the in or towards the toes. We do want to keep contact, even distribution of weight, with just a little more at the top of the ankles. And give yourself that time to release, hopefully from the lower back all the way down to the crown of the head. We're about 3 breath cycles in this second fold. So as we prepare to come out, we'll do the same thing on an inhale. You can either roll up or come up with a straight back, but either way, engage your core. Bend the knees if you need, and come all the way back up. And if you can, reach to the top, lengthen through the legs, engage the glutes, and then exhale. If your hands are up, hands down, heart center. And we'll start our walking meditation. Inhaling, standing weight to the left side of the body. Give yourself that moment to find that balance. And then inhale the right foot up. Step it forward. The bigger the step, the higher the knee, the more challenging. So it doesn't have to be too far. And then once you get that foot there, focus on launching from the back of the foot and step on the inhale, the back foot forward. You might land on your heel, the midfoot. You might drag the foot all the way forward. But either way, you have 1 full breath cycle per step. Slow walking meditation. And pressing into the palms, into your blocks, engaging the core will help you keep balance. And if you fall out, that's okay. Just come on back. If you would like to just walk in place, you can do that as well. And at the top of the mat, we'll meet in our mountain. Looking down at the fingertips or the block tops, press into the palms and raise them to the ceiling. And on the exhale, separate the palms, start to hinge once more to another fold. Stick the tailbone back, long back, and float all the way down to your third fold. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift. That just means lengthen through your back. Keep the gaze out in front of you, right below you. Lengthen through the legs as best you can. And then exhale. Let the torso return towards the thighs. You could just bend your elbows even. And if you have blocks, put them on a lower setting. And then we're going to put the hands at either side of the feet and start stepping back to our high plank. If you're able to put one entire leg back and the other in order to get into your high plank, that's ideal, but you might have to take several steps. Feet at the back of the mat. We're going to inhale, shoulders over the wrists, and then exhale, let the knees and the shins come down to the mat and come into a modified high plank. For 5 breath cycles, nice and slow. Give yourself a chance to feel the energy, how it's moving. You're hopefully pressing into the extended arms so that your shoulders are protracted away from the spine. Shoulders are not caving in towards the spine or towards the ears, and the fingers are nice and splayed, even distribution of weight over the entirety of the palm, all the way to the fingertips, and even in between the digits. Thumbs are in the center, and your gaze is somewhat there, right at the center as well. Feel the shins primarily supporting the lower body and the tops of the ankles as well. If that's causing cramping in your arches, you can always keep a gentle tuck to the toes. But we want to keep the lower body supported primarily by the shins and the feet, ankles, and the top of our weight right above those wrists. and the core is engaged. A nice long hypotenuse, a very long energy diagonal from the shins all the way to the crown of the head. Breathing deeply. Inhale. Exhale. And then we can inhale, tuck the toes, lift up the hips, and press into the arms so you can drive the hips back towards your down dog. Separate the feet if they're a little too narrow. We want them about hips distance apart. And you may be up on the balls of the feet, which are okay. You don't have to have the heels down on the mat. But eventually, as your heels lower, you may think about internally rotating more the thighs so that you have a slight pigeon toe positioning of the feet. And as you're finding your dog, what you're looking for is an upside down V. Eventually, and keeping those shoulders rotated away from the ears is very important. So you can think about if you were to bend your elbows, would they bend towards the back of the mat or out to the side? We want them to bend towards the back of the mat. So just orient the wrist so that you have that sort of orientation at the elbows. And we're in our first down dog for about 5 breath cycles. So you do what feels good to you. If you have especially tight legs, you may need to gently bounce on the balls of the feet. You may keep a deep bend to the knees if your glutes especially are a little tighter than usual. And then explore, inhaling up the tailbone and exhaling, relaxing longer legs downward, heels closer to the mat. Can make sure those fingers are still splayed, the shoulders are still rotated away from the ears, and the ears are somewhat in between the upper arm position. You can always walk your dog. You can bend one knee, lengthen that leg, bend the other knee, lengthen that leg. See if that helps. And then with the next inhale, we're going to prepare to come back to the back of the mat. Grab your blocks if you need. We're going to inhale, roll the eyes towards the hands, and walk the hands to the back of the mat. Bend the knees deeply if you need to. Fully exhaled here. We're going to inhale for a half lift, lengthen through the legs, engage the core. Don't forget that. Inhale. And then exhale down to the fold. And then come on up, your choice, a slow roll up or a strong back. But we want the tailbone to drop. And we want to come all the way back up, reaching up high, lengthening, rooting down through the feet. Exhaling hands down, heart center. And we're moving once more to a second walking meditation. Inhaling, left side of the body. Right foot lifts. Exhale that foot down. Feel that forward motion. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale that down. Launching towards the front. Right foot up. Go at your own pace, however. Do what you need. Try to maintain 1 full breath cycle per step. And your core engaged to help keep the balance. Slower the walking meditation. The higher the knee, the bigger the step, the more challenging this exercise becomes. And at the top of the mat, we'll meet in our mountain. Inhale, press into the palms. Lifting above towards the ceiling. Exhale, separate the palms and hinge at the hips for another fold. Walk the hands down, float the arms down. But we'll meet in our forward fold once more, fully exhaled. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step the hands to either side of the feet. Step back into your high plank. Inhale, shoulders over the wrists. And this time we're keeping a long high plank. Nice and strong core, pressing into the arms, into the hands, while our heels feel that energy down to the balls of the feet and the legs engaged, quads engaged, hamstrings engaged, core engaged. Nice long diagonal from the heels all the way to the crown of the head, looking down, using that yogic breath. We're here for about 3 full breath cycles. You could imagine inhaling energy in, exhaling, engaging the core. And then we can inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, press back the hips towards the back of the mat for down dog. And once more, staying about 3 breath cycles here in our down dog. And give yourself that movement that feels good to you, or just stay in your down dog perfectly as you are and breathe. Core is engaged. And with the next inhale, we'll look to our hands. And then exhale, walk the hands to the back of the mat. Knees can be bent. Fully exhaled into our fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, engage the core. Roll up. Come on up with a straight back. Lift up towards the ceiling. Engage the glutes. Inhale, hands to heart center. We'll walk one last time, walking meditation. Inhaling, right foot up. Bless you. Exhaling it down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhaling that down. 1 full breath cycle per step. Core engaged all the way. And we'll meet at the top of the mat. Looking down at the fingertips or blocks, pressing into the hands, lifting above towards the ceiling. Separate the palms, exhale, hinge at the hips. Stick the tailbone back, keep the bend to the knees if you need. Float on down to your last fold, or almost last fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Hands to either side of the feet. Step back into your high plank. Inhale, shoulders over the wrists. And stay for 3 full breath cycles. Notice if you've got weight in the heels of the hands, try to redistribute that support all throughout the palm area. Keep the core engaged. With the next inhale, we're lifting the hips, and exhale, pushing back into down dog. 3 more breath cycles here, nice and slow yogic breaths. Hands width shoulder width apart, feet hips distance apart. You can always sway the hips, give yourself a little more stretching to the glutes. Do what feels good to you, or stay perfect where you are. And after your last breath, inhale, eyes towards the hands. Walk the hands to the back of the mat. To the back of the fold. Fully exhaled. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, hands down, heart center. And finally down to the side. Okay, give yourself just a little brief break here. Let the blood rush back to your head. Drink some water if that feels good. Hopefully you feel a little heat. Your hands should feel a little warmer. And for our next pose, our balance pose, we're going to be standing in mountain, and we're just going to be stretching our sides and give our arms some length, hopefully. So without too much effort, though, in the curve, you really want to feel a lengthening from your heel on one side all the way to the fingertips when we're doing this stretch. And what you can feel then is just a slight like movement at the top. So it's not really that we're bending our torso over so much as we're lengthening, and we'll be about square foot mountain here. We're lengthening the legs, the body as one whole unit so we can raise the arms up. If you can grab a hold of the fingers and intertwine them, that's one nice part. If you can have it at a tangent here only, that's fine too. But we're lengthening up, and you don't have to put your arms up above if you have shoulder issues, but we want to find that length as much as we can. And then we're going to inhale, and then exhale. Feel the left foot as you just lean towards the right. Again, it's not the curve of the torso so much as you want to feel that lengthening all the way from that anchor foot on the outside through the rib cage, through the armpit, all the way to the length of the fingertips. Inhale here. Exhale, feel a little more rooted. And we're lengthening. You're engaging your glutes, your core is engaged, and your feet is anchored. Hopefully you don't feel light on that left foot. So you don't have to, again, curve too far. It's almost like a half moon position. With one more inhale, one more exhale. Engage the core. Inhale all the way back up. Drop that center of gravity towards both sides of the body, even distribution of weight. Inhale up. And then exhale over to the other side and step into your right foot. You're not going to go too far, but you're hopefully feeling that anchor point from the right foot without locking your knees. You want to make sure you have that nice length. And breathe. Inhaling. Exhaling, that right foot should be sticking to the mat. One more breath cycle here. And then inhale all the way back up. Exhale, hands gently float back down and then down to the side. Let the arms be nice and loose. You can roll the shoulders if you'd like. And you can bend the knees if you'd like. See if you can get that activation out of the legs if you have a tendency to lock on. Alrighty, and then one more while we're standing, nice and firm column of support from the shoulders down to the heels. We're going to bring the arms out in front of us this time and once more intertwine the arms. And you can make small infinity sort of symbols. We're just going to rock from side to side. And as you're breathing, keep your core engaged. Maybe the infinity, lemniscat. Maybe that symbol gets a little bigger, a little wider in the loops, a little longer. But see if you can feel that stretch all the way to the tops of your deltoids, the balls of the shoulders, as well as the back of your shoulder blades. And again, don't lock out your knees. And then we're going to come back to center. We're going to inhale, hands towards us. Exhale, palms away.
nice and long. Keep the back of the shoulder blades moving away from the spine. You can gently tuck the chin. Maybe you'll feel a little stretch at the base of the skull. Inhale, bring the knuckles in. Exhale, drive the knuckles out, lengthen once more. See if you can bring the thumbs and the fist to just slightly dip downward. See how that feels at the top of your shoulders, at the sides of your shoulder blades. Inhale once more, hands in prayer to heart center, and release the hands. Go ahead and shake out any residual movement, shift up a leg or two, get some of that moving. And then we are going to move into our staff position. I'm going to be demonstrating from the chair, but if you can get down to the mat and would like to use your staff on the mat, go ahead and do so. Or you can pull up a chair and join us on the chair if you'd like. But we're just going to meet in our staff position. And have a block near you if you're using the chair, because if you're not able to bring the heel to your groin on the chair seat, you may only be able to put the foot on the block. And all we're going to do is we're meeting in our staff position, nice long legs, feet are about hips distance apart. Doesn't really matter if your thighs are zipped up or not, but it's usually a little easier if they're not. So sitting at the edge of the chair, we don't want to be all the way at the back of the chair, because then our thighs will be a little encumbered, blocked. So as we're sitting down into our staff position, see if you can feel the back of your entire leg just nice and long on the mat. So, staff position is where your legs are nice and long. You're sitting on your sits bones, and usually if your feet are hips distance apart, it's easier for you to balance on your sits bones. And you don't want to be, if you're in the chair, your butt all the way to the back of the chair. Again, your thighs need to be kind of open and off of here. You might have maybe halfway at the very most, but we're trying to, with a nice tall back, start to bend your left knee. Start to bring it closer, the sole of your foot closer to your groin. Now, with the knee bent, you might only be able to move so far up the leg. We're not bringing the sole of the foot towards the inner leg. We're just bending the knee so that it's above us. So if you can imagine me being on the mat, the knee bends towards the ceiling as we draw the foot closer towards the groin. We're not doing tree. We're not doing a tree in our staff pose. So as we sit upright here, the key is if the foot draws closer to the groin area, you may feel like you have to round your lower back. We want to kind of avoid that. So you can have that upright pelvic position of the spine in the hip in the 90-degree position. And we're just drawing that heel closer to the groin. And if you can keep the spine upright, that's what we're shooting for. We're aiming for that. And if you're only able to put your foot on a block, that's good too. At some point, if you get it as close to you as possible, like most of the students here, you can start to grab a hold of your shin and see if that helps you to maintain that upright position. We don't want to curve the back in any way. We're trying to maintain an upright seated position. So eventually, we'll bring more and more of the knee closer, the folded leg closer to our body. Whoops, and I need to keep this leg out. So eventually, if you're at the chair, you may even be able to, if you're not able to go down to the mat, bring the knee high up to the chest and have the heel on that edge of the chair. I can't do that, but if you're able to, on the chair, you can do that. But eventually, you might just be able to fold that knee, that leg, while your back is nice and long. You can think about breathing for the next 5 to 10 breath cycles. You can point your long leg foot. You can point the toes. You can flex the feet. But we want to keep that leg nice and relaxed once you've done that. You can think about, with each passing exhale, whether that foot can get a little closer to the groin while you're maintaining that upright position. in a soft gaze. And after you're done with your 5th breath cycle, or 10th, you can go ahead and release that foot, lengthen through the leg, and tap out the knees if you'd like. We're going to move to the other side. So if you have that block, if you need the block there, keep it to the other side now. And in our staff position, once more, nice and tall, inhaling, feeling that string lifting up at the crown of the head. And then start to bend the right knee and draw the folded leg closer so that the sole of the foot gets closer to the groin. And again, if you're able to draw up the leg and have the heel at the chair seat edge, that's a good place if you're in the chair. If you're on your staff position, that's an excellent place to land. And you can always, once more, point that long leg foot and flex that leg if you need. Staying for 5 to 10 breath cycles, good deep yogic breaths. It's often said that on the inhale, you're drawing energy in, helps you to sort of scan the body, see if there's any activated muscles or any tension, any achiness, so that on the exhale, hopefully it can release. And again, a soft, far away gaze, straight out in front of you. All right. After your last breath, you can go ahead and release the hold of your folded leg and lengthen that leg. And again, do anything that feels good to kind of release from there. You can tap out the knees. You can shift from left to right, maybe from in to out. Point the toes, flex the feet, do what feels good. And if you're in the seat, we're going to bring that block right in between. If you're in your staff on the mat, we're going to start to just let the toes kind of fall up away from each other and be on the edge, the outer edge of your feet. See if you can draw them a little closer to each other and let the knees just relax outward in your staff position. The key here is to maintain the upright position of your spine, and you can start to draw the feet closer to you. Kind of like a butterfly, but we have a really long shape here. We want to keep a nice openness to the knees and feel that stretch all along that front muscle, the front shin muscle, right along that edge of the shin bone. And you might have more and more of the outer ankle of your feet just touching the floor. If you have more of a diamond shape as opposed to a butterfly shape, that's what we're looking for with our staff in this hybrid of a butterfly position, I guess. If you're in the seat, you can think about drawing your feet closer. You might even put it on the block if that feels good. But again, you don't want to curve the lower back or the upper shoulders. We want to keep a nice upright position. Just relax for about 3 to 5 breath cycles. Give yourself 10 if it feels really good. Your hands can be holding on to your ankles if you have it that far up, but again, that's more of a butterfly. Or your hands can be on the shins, which would be more of that diamond shape. It could be on the material. It could just be resting the backs of the hands on the inner thighs. And hopefully in the last couple of exhales, you're just feeling the glutes melt away into the mat. Maybe you might feel the hips opening just slightly more. Alrighty, and then after you're done with your last breath, you can also assist the knees back into place. We're rolling onto the soles of the feet, bringing the soles of the feet back onto the mat. And then you can lengthen through the legs into your staff position once more. And here, just keeping nice and relaxed, you can inhale, extend through the heels, flexing the feet, toes coming towards you, and then just relax the legs. We're going to, if you have your strap near you, we're going to use that if your shoulders are kind of tight. Let's go ahead and bring our strap around our neck, but we can bring our arms out to the side. And then we're going to bend our elbows into these cactus arms, and then start to lower your left arm, or one arm goes down, one stays up, and then start to bring them forward towards each other. And I guess I should have turned around so you could see, but we're just going to, if we need to use the strap, we're going to have the strap at the back of us. If you have, you know, this one here and the other one over your shoulder at the back, we grab a hold of it, and we're going to bring the hands closer to each other as the elbows. The up elbow is up towards the ceiling near the head. The lower elbow is to the side near your rib cage. As your fingers start to walk down the strap, eventually maybe you can get a hold of your fingers without the help of the strap. But keeping the back and the neck straight is key here. We don't want to curve the spine. We're trying to get the opening in the shoulders while the core of the torso is supported. Keep a breath or two here. As you inhale deeply, you should feel the chest lifting, the rib cage expanding. And then on the exhale, core is engaged. To release, release the strap, and start to bring the right hand up, bring the lower arm down, and then let that right arm come on down. You can go ahead and shrug the shoulders, just slightly roll. You can shift them from side to side. I'm going to turn to the side this time so you can get a better view of what that might look like at the back. And this time, I had my one arm up here, my right arm up. This time we're going to switch positions. So as we inhale deeply, get both of the hip bones here, bringing the arms out to the side. We're going to have the opposite hand to arm position. So the bottom arm now is up on top. The one on top is now at the bottom. And then we're going to exhale, bending the elbows here. I think I skipped the cactus part, but you get it. We're bending the elbows, and then we're bringing the hands closer to each other. And I do wish I had the strap here, because on my left side it's much tighter, and I can't reach my hands together. But as you get more of a stretch, as you cultivate more of that flexibility, remember, keep the elbow close to the head and the lower one close to the ribs, and then the hands get closer to each other. And this way, you're hopefully protecting the shoulders, and you don't need to force anything. If you're right here and you've got the strap, relax on the strap. Just grab a hold of the strap and then let the shoulders relax. Let gravity sort of help to open up the traps, the armpit area, the delts, and breathe. Breathe a few breath cycles here, 2 to 3 breath cycles. If you want to see about lifting up at the sternum with each inhale, that just helps you to cultivate your position here, your stretch in the shoulders. Either way, your core is engaged, and eventually you may find the hands start to gravitate closer to each other. And you may eventually be able to touch fingers, if not hook fingers, or hook the hands, hook the wrists. And then on the exhale, we release. Bring the top hand out, start to release the lower, and just let the arms nice and relax. You can do this side-to-side motion of the shoulder blade. You can lift up and back and down. You can roll. You can alternate that position. Do whatever feels good. And we're going to do one more thing. We're going to inhale, bringing the elbows close to the rib cage. We're going to inhale the hands, and hopefully the fingertips are long enough to reach the tops of your shoulders, the tops of the traps there. So if you can just gently hook the hands onto there, and then relax the arms. Let the elbows be nice and heavy. We're going to inhale and then exhale. Gently let the chin slightly drop, tucking in. We're not letting the chin rest on the chest, but we're just letting that motion just relieve a little bit more in the tops of the shoulders. Go ahead and give yourself a little massage at the tops of the shoulders if you'd like. And then inhale, bring the gaze back up to center. And then exhale, start to bring the fingertips pressing down gently up the neck and to the base of the skull. And then we're going to exhale slowly here with the fingers gently finding that groove along the back of the base of the skull, under the jawline, and go ahead and flick out. We'll do one more inhale here. Exhale, bend at the elbows and grab a hold of either side, crossing the hands across the chest. Let the fingers just rest on the balls of the shoulders, and let the arms be heavy. Let the elbows be heavy. Inhale once more. Exhale, let the chin gently drop. We're going to inhale, gaze comes back up. And then we're going to switch the position of the hands. You can bring the hands out and then switch the position. Opposite hands on opposite shoulder blades, or shoulder balls of the shoulder. And breathe a couple times here. And on the exhale, if you just gently tuck the chin, you'll feel that nice lengthening of the back of the chest. And of course, we are not resting our chin on the chest. And then release the hands. Give yourself a nice little shake, a little roll. We're going to meet in Final Shavasana. If you're in the chair, you can stay in your chair position. Final Shavasana is just your body being fully lengthened on the back. If you have pressure at the lower back, you can compensate. You can help support that achiness by rolling up your, folding your blanket and putting it right underneath your lower back, right at that small of the back. You can put blocks or rolled up blanket or towels underneath your knees and then stretch on out. You can let the feet kind of fall away from each other. You can have them close together. You can have the legs out towards the mat. Arms away from the sides of the body, palms facing up. It usually feels good, but if that doesn't work for your shoulders, just have your palms down. Get into your final resting pose. And when you hear the 3 bells, will awaken. If you're in the chair, also, your final resting pose is just having that gentle bend to the knees, or you can even have them nice and long, but stacking that torso above the pelvic bowl and resting with a soft gaze. We don't want to round our shoulders. We want to have a nice supported back, but just let everything be relaxed. You can rest the back of the hands on your thighs, and that's your Shavasana. Closing the eyes if that feels good to you, wherever you are. Bringing the mind back to the body, taking note of sounds outside the room, inside the room, and finally back to the breath. You're welcome to make any movements to help connect to the body vessel, and we'll meet in an upright seated position to finish our class with our breath of fire exercise. Once more, we're just trying to be upright, pelvic, evenly balanced, so that we can support the torso. So make sure you can feel those sits bones, the sternum nice and lifted. And I'll try to guide with the hand a count of 20 breath cycles. Let's make it 30. I believe last week we said 30. So we'll go nice and slow as we're moving along. And if you don't do the 30, no problems. We're just working on this exercise. Eventually we'll get there. Sitting up nice and tall, inhaling through the nose, pursing your lips for the exhales as we shoot them out with the belly. Close, chin tuck, lift the pelvic bowl, release the breath. I think I only went 20, sorry about that. We'll go 30 this time. And with the next set, let's go 30. Inhaling. Fully exhaled, hold, chin tuck, lift the pelvic bowl. And then breathe naturally. Sometimes as we're going through the breath of fire, as we get better and better at it, we may feel a little tingling. It is a little bit of a hyperventilation. So be careful as you're standing up. We don't want to have the blood rush up to the head. And you'll hopefully feel a little more energized. And definitely it'll help with the core. It's one of the best core developers I've had, better than sit-ups. And great for the lung capacity. So with that in mind, let's bring our hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining us here at the ACC's Community Room. I hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.